When talking or thinking about crypto, it's important to get the nomenclature right. There are three terms of art that are extraordinarily important to master and to understand the distinction between them. First, there's the notion of cryptocurrency. Second, there's the notion of a token or a coin. And third, there's the notion of an initial token offering or an initial coin offering. All are different, all have different legal implications, and let's burrow down and let's understand the distinction among the three. A cryptocurrency is a form of code that's supposed to represent some kind of value. It's an electronic version of money, or at least that's how some people explain it. Other people will dispute that explanation. Best example is probably something like Bitcoin, where many people are using it as a store of value. On relatively rare occasion, it's actually used as a medium of exchange. But basically, it's supposed to represent value in a sense like a dollar bill or, some kind of asset or gold or what have you, but in the form of a code that is scarce, that doesn't exist in an infinite form. We then have another form of crypto that many people call coins or tokens. These are codes that when used in a particular system will perform a particular function. For example, you could imagine an environment in which you can store your data on the internet on other people's computers. It's a little bit like Airbnb, but for your data instead of for your body. All right? And when you've got that kind of a system, you're going to have to pay the people who are providing the servers where your data resides for the use of their servers. You can use tokens or coins, bits of code, in order to transfer that value in that system. In addition, you can imagine a situation where you could pay at a restaurant with tokens. You could imagine tokens that are designed specifically for ride-sharing systems. You could imagine and construct tokens and coins that could be used for just about any economic function in addition to the store of value. Third, we come to initial coin offerings or initial token offerings. These are fascinating situations. Imagine somebody who wants to build a system that allows you to use tokens in order to make restaurant reservations. You get paid for making reviews. You can get premiums and discounts for ordering special bottles of wine or what have you. So they build these tokens, or they plan to build these tokens, and they tell people, look, we will sell you tokens for a system that doesn't yet exist. And we will sell you these tokens, and we will raise a certain amount of money. And when we raise that money, we will then use it to launch the system, and you will have the tokens that you can then use in the system. And people have been raising lots and lots and lots of money around these initial coin offerings. In 2018 alone, through July, $10 billion has been raised for these initial coin offerings. As you might imagine, these are a bit controversial. If you stop and if you think about initial coin offerings in the real world, it's as though somebody says, I have an idea, I'm going to come up with something, Beanie Babies. And instead of selling you stock in the company that's going to make Beanie Babies, I'm going to sell you Beanie Babies before I've actually made any Beanie Babies. In other words, I'm pre-selling my inventory, and I'm using the cash that I raise by pre-selling the inventory in order to build the company and build the inventory that I'm going to sell to you. It's not selling stock. The people who buy it don't have any voting rights. All they're doing as a practical matter is buying the future inventory, but in most situations, or virtually all situations, they're buying the inventory at a price that they hope will appreciate, and it's in part because of that expectation of appreciation, that expectation of a profit, that we wind up with a fascinating legal issue as to whether these initial coin offerings are actually sales of securities that need to be regulated as securities sales by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, and whether they also give rise to private rights of action for the failure to register these sales and for fraud that, in my view, commonly occurs in conjunction with these sales.